The day was ending in Equestria, and Princess Luna was raising the moon after her older sister, Princess Celestia, had set at the sun already. As Princess Luna was done raising her crescent moon up into the sky, and finished with the stars too, Princess Celestia came up to her sister at a balcony. Why a crescent moon? Would it be amazing to see a full moon? Princess Celestia wondered. Well, according to the day being partly cloudy for half the afternoon, I was thinking that a crescent moon would be right, Princess Luna answered. Princess Celestia slightly smiled and wrapped her wing around her sister. You know, if you look closely at the group of stars, it looks like Father's cutie mark. Princess Celestia pointed out. I see them too, and if you look at the far west, you could see Mother's cutie mark. Luna added in, pointing her hoof against a group of stars. I see it. It looks remarkable at this kind of night, Princess Celestia replied. Taya, have you ever wondered about how Mother and Father loved each other? Luna asked, raising an eyebrow. What do you mean? Are you talking about how they ended up together and one day had the ability to change the day and the other had the ability to change it to night? Celestia asked suspiciously. Yes, I've always wanted to wonder about that, and sometimes I question myself as I would find some pony who is different than who we are. Different types of ponies or species, Luna cried. The Sun Princess cleared her throat. She never heard her little sister explain this subject before, not even when their parents were alive 1,000 of years ago. Well, sister dear, I think Mother and Father find themselves to be meant together because day and night were meant to be balanced and they wanted the night and the day to coexist without any fright, Celestia answered. This may sound reasonable, Celestia, Luna said, looking down at the other ponies at Canterlot. What would happen if that's some pony that is different from me? Luna asked solemnly. I'm pretty sure that some pony would love you, Luna, Celestia responded with a smile. As Princess Luna smiled back at her sister before she headed back inside the castle for the night to sleep, she looked at the sky and gave the two groups of heart-shaped cutie marks one last look. Maybe there is some pony out there that loves me or is different from the other species. Then I could probably talk to Mother about it and thank them for it, Luna thought to herself. Night was about midnight, and the Moon Princess began to open up her wings and fly off to the Lavender Meadow to have some time for herself, and to do her job, which is entering other ponies' dreams. As Princess Luna arrived at Lavender Meadow, just outside of the Everfree Forest, she sighed in relief and smiled, being surrounded by lavender that gave Luna the calmness deserved. Not only do I feel calm, but lavender is my absolute favorite flower. It brings out the eglants, Luna said to herself with a smile. As Princess Luna was enjoying herself in the lavender sanctuary and seeing the beautiful starry night, she noticed something glistening deep into the Everfree Forest, where the old castle that she and Celestia and the parents used to live before she was banished to the moon. Luna decided to go check it out and revisit the old good memories that she had with her sister and her parents. She flew into the forest, lighting the way for her to see, using her horn through the darkness of the forest. It has been years since I visited my old castle. I heard Twilight Sparkle and her friends visited there, not to mention Pinkie Pie when such a funny fright out of the friends once, Luna thought. The Moon Princess was now crossing over the bridge to the entry of the old castle, and saw how the glistening was getting closer from what she could see. Princess Luna went through the old hallway of her old home and saw the old portrait of her parents, King Cosmos and Queen Galaxia, standing right in front of the castle years before Princess Celestia was born. Even during the destruction, the portrait still stands, Luna thought happily. Luna kept on walking until she saw through the door that led to King Cosmos' study room, and there was glistening as she noticed from earlier. She opened the door and saw an old dark and blue sheet covering something oval-shaped. Somehow the glistening bit was some glass, but was reflecting on the light from the moon. Princess Luna removed the sheet off to reveal two books, and sapphire, and a holy blue agate decorated mirror. She wasn't surprised when she saw that the mirror was actually sort of looked like the one that she found in the Crystal Empire that led to the universe where Sunset Shimmer now lived. This was only the mirror that had the sun and moon crossed over on top, and the colors were different. A demonstration mirror. How could Father have this mirror and not have told me or Celestia? Luna wondered. The night Princess Luna now looked at the two books. They were right in front of her. She began to open and then began reading and contained the cutie mark of her father. She removed the dust off of the book and then she read with her father's journal. Maybe I could reveal the answers here, Luna said. Luna opened the box and the book and flipped through the pages to find the entry of her father was experiencing in the mirror. Luna opened the book, and the entry that she was looking for began to read. After receiving the universal dimension mirror, I have always told my dear wife Galaxia that we could travel to other dimensions from other universes. At first she was anxious to try the mirror, but knowing that during a crescent moon every 30 years, we could enter and come back before sunrise on the third day of the fourth week. Galaxia was starting to be impressed with my explanation. What would she want to schedule a place to go to? Luna stopped reading and then went to her father's desk to take out a quill, a bottle of ink, and her father's lunar poster, both of their parents' journals, and a calendar from the month that Celestia banished her to the moon. With all that information read, gathered, calculated, and studied, Luna found out that tonight would be the only night that the mirror would work. This could be my chance to finally experience something after all these past years, Luna smiled. Luna went a few pages further into her father's journal and read one of the dates when Celestia was still a filly baby. Today is the day where I'm off to see Blood Moon in Transylvania. I have studied and scheduled over the years of what will my next one be next. Nights in Transylvania have been intriguing as the unique event in Equestria. Plus, the stars also seem to have more bright than you could see two more constellations at once. The only way to transfer the Equestria Transylvania is to having 2 feathers of a nightingale, 4 petals of lavender, their flower, a night magic of an alicorn, and hoping I can experience this moon stage and bring it to Equestria as well. Luna never knew that her father transported himself to Transylvania, a dimension of legacy and legendary vampires and monsters experienced on a full moon stage. She hadn't heard that as well, but knowing that you can see more constellations, more than 2 at once, I'm going to see how Transylvania is, and if my father did it, then so will I. Luna grinned. The moon and princess began to fly outside to find the fallen nightingale flowers around the castle or in the forest. After 20 minutes of looking around the castle entrance below the bridge, she found the 2 next exits of the ever-free forest. Okay, this is the lavender petals. Sounds simple enough, Luna said. Luna went back to the lavender meadow and picked out some lavender flowers. At least she had the last objects that she needed. Luna flew back to the castle and flipped to the journal page. She read in the order of the mirror to take her to Transylvania. She had to place the nightingale flowers in the first veil of the night, place the lavender flowers on the veil of the and left, and then using the night magic on the moon on the deck door at the top of the mirror. After retrieving the right items to power up the mirror, the feathers and the petals turned into a dark purple concoction, and the mirror began to glow a blue mist. Luna read, "Okay, here I go." Luna began creating a concentration, following her father's instructions in her journal. After placing the magic on the moon of the mirror, Luna noticed that the dimension mirror began to glow its blue mist like the journal said it would. Feeling a bit anxious, Luna took a deep breath and gathered her parents' journals, a blank notebook, a bottle of ink, and a quill that she brought to the mirror with 1 hoof at a time. As soon as the moon princess rolled out of what seemed to be a secret connection of the entrance of the castle's mirror to a surprise, Transylvania. My head hurts. Why couldn't my father wrote that it would prevent me from a headache from this transportation? Luna groaned. As soon as Luna thought of it, she had her hoof on her head, and she looked down in surprise. Her hoof was right on the hand. Luna began gasping as she found out that it wasn't her normal dark blue coat color. Instead, her skin was moderated peach color. Her hair was the same as was still wavy, and it twinkled like stars. And then she saw that her black hooves were now legs, and she was wearing her navy blue stockings and light blue high-heeled toes. This is unbelievable. There's so much something in this journal that discusses about the certain human transformation, Luna exclaimed. Flipping out nervously and fast, Luna finally reached to the next entry of her father's journal, reading Luna. After arriving at Transylvania, I noticed I started to turn into a new form, a human. I felt nervous at first, but I was still able to use my wings and fly and my magic either in my hands or in my mind. I just couldn't rise or set the moon and the stars like I used to, but I'm hoping this adjustment could work for me. Luna took a couple deep breaths and just thought that her dad was right and she must get used to what is new, and that she might get used to it. As she began to put the journals into her knapsack, Luna also saw that she wore a very long starry blue and black dress with a cutie mark on her dress, which to her opinion was the most better than Rarity's dresses. She then felt around her head for her crown, and by surprise, it was still there, and she sighed in relief. Well, since I'm up here in Transylvania, I might as well find someone for assistance. The Moon Princess opened up her wings and realized that they were still the same color, which it gave her a quarter of happiness as she began to soar up in the sky at night. Hey, this feeling is amazing, and the sky is very huge, Luna said with a ecstatic impression. Luna flew down more quickly and began to smile even bigger as she laughed louder. During her excitement and the new experience, a male vampire bat with red eyes, was flying by near a couple of clouds with the expression that appeared to be loudly and forlorn. As the vampire bat flew towards the right, he didn't take notice of the happy and laughing happy human with blue wings flying towards him. He quickly tried to stop flying, but the Moon Princess bumped right into him, causing them both to collapse into the ground in the middle of the forest. After about 7 minutes of being unconscious, Princess Luna slowly opened her eyes. While groaning in pain, she tried to figure out her strength. Oh, what happened to me? And who did I bump into? A male voice asked. Luna sat up in an alarming way as she heard another voice next to her. She looked up and saw in front of her was none other but a vampire.